Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity beeby dow.
Whoa, 2020.
2020? What up, 2020?
It is here.
It is. The next year is here.
Yes, 2020. Just like my vision.
I wish I had 2020 vision.
You have 2020 vision in spirit.
In spirit?
Yeah. Honorary.
Just not actually.
You have honorary 2020 vision.
That's why I got these specs on my head.
Yeah. Specifications.
Specification glasses.
Oh,
Spectacles.
man. Welcome to a new year with American Brews and Tunes.
Yes, welcome.
My name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
Wow, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back. It's been a while.
It has been a little while. We're back for episode 88.
88.
And technically 89 since we're splitting up our reviews. Instead of doing 2 reviews in one episode, we're just going to do 1 review an episode.
Yeah.
And like we do on repeating numbers, i.e. 88, we're going to go back to bands that we've already reviewed.
Yep.
Which are, on this episode, Animal Collective's album Strawberry Jam. And on next episode,
Bayside's album, Killing Time.
yeah, so look out for next week when we do that Bayside's Killing Time. But for
Yes.
this week, we're all about the Animal Collective.
We're all about Animal Collective this week, and we're all about Strawberry Jam.
Yeah, so that's something else. It's definitely something else.
This
Anyways,
is your new favorite album, right?
somebody might say that, not me. I don't like to put words in anyone's mouth, including my own. It just happens. But I'll get all about what I think about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Until then, let's
gotta start drinking a beer.
yeah, 2020 is all about new beers, and
Yeah.
this isn't a new beer, but it's new for us.
Yeah, I've never had it before.
It's from the brewery Fat Heads. Wow. Ooh.
Up there in Pittsburgh.
It's actually in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yes, but they do some brewing in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And they have a tap room in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
right in
yeah.
Saaside. And they got the best burgers.
Really?
I went there once and I had something called the quadruple bypass.
That sounds like a heart attack.
Yeah, it almost was. It was like burger, but it also on top of it had, I think, bacon, ham, and pulled pork, something along those lines.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember if I finished the whole thing. I don't think I did.
I don't know if you can expect someone to finish that thing unless you look exactly like the guy in this can.
You could. If you've ever had any of their brews, you know exactly who we're talking about. It's this one guy who's got a mustache and he's always wearing sunglasses. He's a real jolly looking guy.
He does look pretty happy.
I don't
He
know if
looks
he's
like
the brewer.
if Mario the plumber, you guys know who I'm talking about, Mario the plumber.
Here we go.
If he were to like start balding and get eat
Large.
a couple too many mushrooms
and drink a lot of beer.
He would drink a lot of beer. This would be him. He's got
Yeah.
a mustache. He's bald. He's got 3 or 4 chins.
Definitely. It's multiple. He's jolly though. And
Yeah.
on all their beers, they dress him up differently. Their biggest known beer is the Headhunter. That's
Headhunter,
their
yep,
main
yep.
flagship IPA. What we're having today is the Hop Juju.
Hop Juju.
It's a lot harder to find. I believe they only brew it once a year. It's won tons of awards.
Yeah, I'm excited to try this.
Gold medal 2013, 2015 at whatever the craft beer festival is. Gold medal at the World Beer Cup in 2016. It's a very good beer. Hard to find. I was lucky to find some in Pittsburgh when I was up there for Christmas.
Yeah.
Here's the description. It says, this supernatural brew possesses powerhouse of hops, creating aromas of citrus, pine, and tropical fruits, with a juicy, resiny finish. Witchcraft? Maybe just a hint. It's a little on the high craft side, clocking in at 9%.
9%. Okay. That's still not terrible, though.
And the IBU level? 100.
100 exactly.
So it's to the max.
All right. I am definitely excited about this this beer. I haven't had too many beers from Fat Heads, but I know whenever you go back to Pittsburgh, you always say like, "Oh, we went to Fat Heads, got some beer there," and you always say it's fantastic. So I'm excited to try it.
Have you had the Headhunter?
I think
Head
maybe when we were still in college, I might have had it once then.
Yeah.
But I can't remember exactly. I guess I could look it up on Untapped, but
Yeah, they have another brew that's fairly popular. It's called the Bumbleberry, I think. It's not my favorite. I think it's a wheat ale that's got like blueberries and honey. Cheryl loves it.
that is a beer that Cheryl would love.
It's very good in the summer if you get a real cold one on a hot day.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but I got this all poured up, and I don't know if you can smell the hops already,
I cannot.
but
Can
I
you?
can. Oh yeah, it smells like hop galore.
Hop galore.
Here, let me pass you a glass.
That could be a new Batman villain.
Hop galore.
Wait, Bond?
Hop galore. Yeah, it'll be Bond.
Yeah. 'cause
It could be
it's-
Batman too. They have funny
yeah.
names. You get it?
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
hoppy
it smells
whiff.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually surprisingly bubbly and like very, very clear.
Yeah. It's not
So
hazy.
this is obviously not a New England style IPA.
No, it's
It
aggressive.
doesn't smell like
smelling.
one either.
Yes,
Yeah.
it smells like a good aggressive
Yes, it smells
hop
very
IPA.
good.
Shall we give it the old
Let's
1-2
give it
and give it
the
our little cheers?
Cheers and try.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes, down the 2020 hatch. It's very crisp and clean at first. Actually, the whole way through, it's crisp and clean, and it's
It is
hoppy, but it's
definitely
not.
crisp. Yeah.
It's not overpowering, especially for 100 IBUs.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see. I think I can taste the 100 IBUs.
It's there, but it doesn't taste as like aggressive as some of the other hot, like 100 plus IBU beers.
Yeah. The hop bitterness though definitely lingers on your palate for a long time.
It is nice.
It's still there right now.
I like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, and like I've said before about some flavors of hop, the way hops smell, this is exactly how they taste.
This tastes.
This
how
tastes
hops
exactly
smell.
how they smell. Yeah,
That's a good way to phrase it.
it's kind of isn't that a weird a way to phrase it though, or a weird concept?
Yeah, it
Some
is.
things taste how they smell sometimes.
But it makes sense.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean that it's actually not weird.
Oh,
When I think about it, it should taste how it smells, right?
yeah. I guess.
I mean, it's not always the case,
what
obviously,
about like
but
candy though,
yeah.
or like gum, bubble gum?
Like we always do, we'll let you know if the beer changes flavor, or if we perceive it differently as it warms up. That typically happens. The flavors kind of expose themselves, if you will, as it warms up. We'll let you know if that happens. Otherwise, you want to dive into Animal Collective Strawberry Jam?
Let's open up that jar of Smuckers and dive right in.
Oh, Smuckers.
With a name like Smuckers, it has to be good.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just start this off with a paraphrase. I watched a YouTube video called "How to Get Into Animal Collective," and I'm paraphrasing what this guy said. He said there are two types of people: those who hate Animal Collective and those who used to hate Animal Collective. And I completely understand what he means. We'll get back to that later.
That's pretty funny.
But just some little brief things about this album. It came out before Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is the previous album that I reviewed.
Yep.
And I want to say that Merriweather Post Pavilion is more accessible than this one. A little more polished sounding, a little more... It's less abrasive.
It's
less
definitely
aggressive
more
sounding.
polished sounding. That's a good point.
Yeah. This album uses lots of experimental instrumentation, some weird arrangements and structures, tons of electronic instruments.
Yes.
All over the board.
A lot.
A lot of things that I don't know what the sounds are, but they're there. There's definitely influence from minimalism here, which I'm not too terribly fond of, but oh well, they were, and they definitely used it. I know you're a big minimalism fan.
Yeah. I don't even know if you can definitely call it minimalism, but it's almost just like repetition, like the repeating of things.
It's not pure minimalism by like what's that
'cause
guy's
it's
name?
still- Their songs are still like
John Cage?
John Cage or Philip Glass,
Glass.
or
Not as
uh,
traditionally minimalist as
what's
those
the other guy's
composers.
name? Steve Reich.
I-
But yeah, no, their melodies in this album and Merriweather Post Pavilion
Oh yeah, there's definitely
are still very melodic and still
Agreed.
Still very
Agreed.
catchy and not minimalistic at all.
This album's only 9 songs long, which is fairly short, but for some really dumb reason, it's almost 45 minutes long. Like there's many songs over 5 minutes and songs over 6 minutes.
Yeah,
Yoy.
yeah. Hey, you can't say that anymore because you recommended me albums with songs longer than that too.
But they were good.
So,
They were. I shouldn't speak in such terms. Pitchfork, which is usually a very harsh journal. I don't know what you call it.
It's like a magazine, isn't it?
magazine
Like
of some sort, online magazine. They're very critical of music.
Yeah.
They like one of their first reviews was Kid A, and they loved it. Like they really like that kind of stuff. They are not favorable towards music that I like.
Yeah.
They love this album, however.
Yeah.
A lot of people love this album a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get some feel for the lyric content, so I was looking up Lyric Genius and stuff.
Yeah.
And in the annotations, people were very obvious in their ways. Like, this is the second song on their fantastic album. Or this song is from the masterpiece, Strawberry Jam. And everyone was like, not like
gushing over it?
Yeah, it was very evident
Wow,
that people love it.
interesting.
So it was kind of funny. And before I dive in, it's been mentioned many places, but I'll read this little excerpt from Wikipedia talking about where the album title came from. I don't know if you are aware.
Yeah.
It's all you do is read the Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
and
then you know, yeah.
Or if you listen to someone else talk about it, I'm sure they'll bring it up because I listened to some other reviews and everybody touched upon it. And everybody used verbatim what Panda Bear said about this.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they weren't referencing this, they used the same terms that he used. So they definitely knew what he said.
Yeah.
So here's what the Wikipedia page says. I'm directly quoting Wikipedia, who is directly quoting some other people too. So look it up if you want. It's not my own words here. The name Strawberry Jam came from singer and drummer Panda Bear, as he and the band were on a plane headed to Greece for a show. Upon receiving his complimentary tray of food, it's not complimentary. You pay for it. It's in the ticket, guys.
Yeah.
He opened up the packet of strawberry jam that had been provided for the bread. As he removed the cover of the packet, he was drawn to the look of the glistening jam, and he expressed his desire for the production of their new album to sound like the jam looked. That is to say, something that's really synthetic and sharp and futuristic looking, but also tangy and sweet. Almost a kind of aggressive way in terms to the way it tastes. So it makes sense.
Sums up the album pretty well.
I think it does too.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Anyways, let's dive into this 9-song
Masterpiece.
journey. I'll say journey
Journey.
of experimental electronic pop.
Electronic pop. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first song, which is I'm not giving ratings here because I didn't want to.
Yep.
Didn't want to be mean. Just kidding. The first song, which is my first recommendation, is Peace Bone.
Peace Bone. A peace bone. A peace bone.
This jumps into the sound of the album all in pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you dip your toes and it's just all in. All you hear is bonefish.
Bonefish.
And then this weird, like, Pac-Man sounding electronic thing.
Yeah.
I just think Pac-Man when I hear it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like chaos.
Yeah, the minimalistic side of their music is definitely comes through in this beginning song.
But it slowly pulls together, and then a drum comes in. Doof, 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 doof. And then a guitar comes in, and then the song structure builds itself out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what I wish they would have faded in the volume on the drums so that it just kind of comes in quietly, because it just starts coming in quick. But this is me nitpicking. They did a good job at pulling it together and blending it in anyways.
Yeah.
If they ever want to go back, that would be a nice thing to do. But anyways.
Remaster it.
Yeah, that gives the song its shape. It's very odd sounding, but it grew on me a lot quicker than most of the songs on the record. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what this is about. It's got some weird stuff. A peace bone was found in the wing of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
I know what a wishbone is. What's a peace bone?
Peace bone
I don't know.
was found
It's
in a
catchy, though.
dinosaur wing.
It's got a really, really good range in the vocals, low register in the falsetto, and you also get a taste for the screams.
Yes.
A little bit. Not like a ton, but you get them on this song for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not as harsh as other bands screaming, but
it's on there. And
it is still screaming.
The screams will come later on the album as well.
Yes, they will.
There are two vocalists.
Mm-hmm.
One is AV something. I can't remember his code name. Whatever he is. He's the one who screams. So I'll just call him AV. The other singer is Panda Bear.
Panda Bear.
He's got much softer vocals. Like I know he sang the song on Merriweather Post Pavilion, "My Girls." Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a hard time telling which one is which, unless there's screaming going on. Then I definitely know who it is.
Yeah, it definitely is difficult to tell which is which,
because they both have a interesting sound. But a lot of people liken Panda Bear to Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Oh, really?
Like that kind of smoothness, and he can go into that high register easily, and
I
kind of
I
have
could
that
see that
smooth flowing voice.
I could see that, but I definitely understand what you're saying about if you like didn't know there were two singers,
Yeah.
you probably like wouldn't be able to decipher that
Yeah.
just by listening.
And granted, if I listened, like if I was a huge fan and I listened to a ton of their stuff, I'm sure I would learn
Already
the
know.
differences.
Yeah.
But I'm not the hugest Animal Collective fan. I don't know all their stuff. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to track number 2, which is my next recommendation,
Oh,
Unsolved Mysteries.
good song.
Comes in with that weird, I don't know if it's a guitar or some electronic instrument, but that dun 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 dun. Kind of in like a triple meter. No clue what it's about. I hated this song for a long time.
Really?
But it finally grew on me because the second part of the melody, it's where the line comes in, but where are the still unborn who could look at me with one eye?
Mm-hmm.
During that part, you hear this weird bubbly instrument, and it almost sounds like you're underwater, and it gets kind of less choppy, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
That's like the first part of the melody. It's like that real choppy dun 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 dun,
Mm-hmm.
and then that part kind of gets underwater and kind of more flowy. And I really like that contrast. That's what made me kind of like it a lot. Lyrically, it seems to be about reflecting on childhood and the loss of innocence when you grow up. But I could be wrong. You never know. There's definitely songs later where he talks about that exactly, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what this
Yeah.
is about. I have no idea what he's talking about concerning Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Like when he's holding that guy, he's like, and
was
suddenly it was Jack the Ripper. Obviously, it's important because he repeats
Jack
it.
the Ripper.
He repeats it many times, and it's
Yeah.
the last line he says in this song. So
Yeah.
it means something. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Moving on to track number 3, something I hate: chores.
Chores.
Nobody likes chores. This song starts off with so it kind of leaves you hanging and then gets chaotic real quick.
Yeah.
So they do that a lot. They like the chaotic sounds. They kind of blast you with all kinds of stuff, lots of layers and hullabaloo.
The song is dancey.
Yeah, you can dance to it. You can definitely dance to it.
Whenever I listen to it, I normally do just a little body shake, a little bit of shoulder shake,
Good.
a little bit of head bopping.
I can see that. You can do that to this song for sure.
Or you go, what was that one movie where it was probably Jim Carrey where he just like did all like this really weird dancing with his arms like flailing everywhere?
This sounds like Jim Carrey. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what movie it is, but I just
Probably any
I'm
movie that Jim
picturing him.
Carrey's in, he does that
Yeah.
at some point in time.
I'm picturing that type of dancing to this song.
He's very emotive with his body.
Yes, and with his face.
Chores. Anyways, Jim Carrey hates chores, especially in Liar Liar, and he'll lie about it. This song talks about how he's got chores and he won't hurt no one. He
Yeah.
also talks about how he wants to get stoned and walk in the rain. A lot of people on Lyric Genius said that this song was like for the legalization of weed.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I think he's just bored and like just that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, probably.
And definitely like I said, it was that kind of like chaotic, frantic stuff. But then when he talks about wanting to smoke weed and go in the rain when there's no one watching, it
Yeah.
slows down and gets spacey.
When there's no one watching.
Like maybe after he's partaking in some sweet, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe that's why. Who knows? I don't know. That's just what I get out of that song.
Mm-hmm.
I think the people in Lyric Genius are just pressing their own agendas and projecting a little bit.
Probably.
Those weirdos.
I mean, in 2007, there probably wasn't even a lot of talk about the legalization of
Some, but not as much as
marijuana.
now.
Not as much as it is today, yeah.
That's when this album came out, by the way.
2007, yeah.
I should have mentioned that. My bad.
It's all good.
Track number 4 is my honorable mention. It's called For Reverend Green. As
Oh,
if there was
yeah.
a person with the last name Green who was in the clergy.
Yeah.
A clergyman, last name Green.
that's not-
For Reverend Green. When they do say that, though, however, it sounds like Forever in Green.
For Reverend Green.
Or Forever
Reverend-
and Green.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what they're going for there. So many people have different theories. Don't know. There's polyrhythms in this song.
Mm-hmm.
The drum beat's definitely a solid like 4/4, but the vocal line is in a 7/4. You can subdivide it like one measure of 4/4 and then one by a 3/4.
Yeah.
If you don't pay attention to it, you might not notice it, but when you're following the lyrics, you notice that the downbeat on the drums, the doof 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 doof, it's like a doof 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 doof.
Yeah.
Like it comes in at different parts.
Yeah.
In the lyrics, and you think about it like, something sounds a little off, and then when you start counting, you realize why.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a cool little thing.
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. This is the song about the difference between childhood and adulthood, like the carefree nature of kids.
Yeah.
Like at the very beginning of the song, he's like talking about all these like dreary things that he's doing and like the mundaneness. What's the word?
Mundanity.
Mundanity. We coined that term. Until he stumbles upon this baby on a bus, and the baby smiles at him for seemingly no reason. And I think that's what causes him to contemplate how easy happiness comes for children. Perhaps. Yeah. He really screams that line at the end, though. Forever and green. I can't do it. But you know what I mean. It sounds like it hurts.
Yeah, it sounds like he's just really screaming.
Sounds like he's tearing up his vocal cords.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing the correct screaming, but he's screaming.
Who knows? He's doing something, and it sounds cool.
Moving on to track number 5. We're already halfway through this album.
Crazy, man. Wow.
This song seems to be a lot more relaxed than all the previous songs. Again, it's pretty contemplative. The singer's trying to find meaning.
What's it called?
Fireworks, my bad.
Fireworks. Oh, this
Fireworks.
song's great.
It's a popular one. I think he's trying to find meaning in a loved one, but is like having some trouble finding meaning. I don't know for sure or not. Their lyrics are not the most straightforward. They're about straightforward things, but they're not straightforward in how they talk about it.
Yeah, and how they phrase all their lyrics too.
They phrase it kind of abstractly.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what it's about. I don't know. It's also the longest song on the album at 6 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yep.
Too long if you ask me, but their creative choice, go for it.
Not long enough.
I don't know. Let's move on to track number 6. This is number 1. It's not #1. It's #1.
This is my favorite song on the album.
So number 1 is track number 6. This is my least favorite song on the album. The very first time I listened to it, I thought it was an instrumental.
Yeah.
I could hear there was vocals, but I thought it was gibberish, and like it was so affected by electronic stuff going on that it was almost discernible. I just thought it was like there for some type of aesthetic. But they are lyrics.
Yep, there are.
And because I looked them up, that's why I would consider the song not a skipper. If I didn't look up the lyrics, this would be my skipper for sure. Do you know? Have you looked up the lyrics for this ever?
Yeah,
it's a father and a son.
Father talking to his son.
The son's kind of like having some troubles and like showing a little bit of selfishness at the beginning, like the mine, whatever he's saying.
Yeah,
the dad just giving him advice on love, on how to deal with troubles, all kind of things. Taking advantage of time before you lose it. Yeah. So it's got a nice message in there.
Yeah, I really like the type of effects they put on, I guess, the father's voice whenever he says, "Now, son."
Yeah. But you also like instrumentals and weird spacey things like that one instrumental song on Kid A. Was that Tree Fingers?
Tree Fingers, yeah. What a great song.
The only thing that I like about that is that all the sounds were made on a guitar. That's the only cool thing about it.
That they weren't made on some electronic instrument.
Because then it would be too easy.
But yeah, this song, I feel like this song is probably the outlier.
I agree.
On the album. It doesn't have like a similar structure to most of the other songs.
It's not in your face.
It's just kind of like really muted and strange sounding and just like not straightforward, like even less straightforward than the other songs.
I agree. It's just there.
And then it almost has like a Charlie Brown teacher voice for the dad.
Nelson.
Nelson. Goofy. But
let's move on to what I would consider the best song on the album.
Okay.
Track number 7 is Winter Wonderland.
That's
obviously
also a great song.
I recommended it if I'm saying it's the best song on the album.
Yeah.
It's a fast one, and though it's definitely not a punk song, it's almost got a punk feel. It's got that like fast urgeness to it without being like it's not abrasive and fast in the way that the other songs were. It's got like a driving beat to it that almost makes it feel real fast.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were working on this song during the writing of the album Here Comes the Indian, which came out in 2003, but they saved it for here, Strawberry Jam. I don't know why they held on to it for 4 years.
Who knows?
But I probably wouldn't have listened to it if it was on Here Comes the Indian, because I don't want to listen to that. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. I like the chorus on the song a lot. He's talking to a person who doesn't believe in fantasy, reigning, happiness, or dying. If you don't believe in fantasy, then don't believe in fantasy.
Don't believe in fantasy. Down. Because it gets you down.
Yeah.
If you don't believe it, die. Because it gets you down.
And so he's talking to somebody who is really negative and is like living in denial, and they're like just ignoring everything because it gets them down.
Yeah.
Like they're not believing in happiness.
Yeah.
So obviously they're down. They don't want to hear about dying because it gets them down. So they're just avoiding things, good and bad.
Yeah. And I think
a sheltered existence.
The lyric is like, if you don't believe you're dying, or something like that. And
Then you don't believe you're dying. Then I won't talk about dying.
then because
Something.
it gets you down or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
But it's
But-
fun. It's a really bouncy song.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's really, really catchy.
Yeah. I listened to one review and there was this weirdo weird guy reviewing. He's like, "This song is a rager," or something like that, or a banger, as maybe he called it.
Sounds a banger.
I wouldn't call it a banger, but it's definitely like they're much more like intense,
Yeah.
faster song,
I
if you can
am.
call it that.
I am curious to like if they. I don't think they're still touring anymore. Actually, they probably are, because they just came out with a new album in 2017.
If they are, I would have no idea.
But if they are, I'd be curious as to what their live shows are like. You know what I mean? Just because like I haven't gone to an experimental electronic pop show.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to expect, like how many tracks would be played versus how much. I
Yeah,
don't know.
how much like they would actually be playing instruments and
Yeah.
whatnot.
It'd be curious to see. I am not their biggest fan, but I would be curious to see them live, just to see. Moving on to track number 8, which is the penultimate track. This song is called Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Apparently, the song contains a sample of Lieberstrom number 3 in A flat major by
Oh.
Franz Liszt.
Wow.
What a great pianist. Crazy piano player.
Yes.
It's I listened to Lieberstrom number 3 in A flat major. It's a very introspective sounding song, very flowy piano. Nothing crazy like some of his etudes or whatever he did.
Yeah.
But it sounds challenging to play, but it's very nice. However, the sample that they use is surrounded by a lot of electronic and random sounds. And eventually it gets attacked by this crazy drum thing. And the drums it turns crazy.
Yeah.
Like, during the piano part where it's like and he's singing over top of it, it's kind of subdued, and
Yeah.
then the drums and that heavier guitar part come in, and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you got those juxtapositions of the softer parts and then the real intense parts, and like the back and forth, and the back and forth is enough to drive someone cuckoo. But maybe that's how they came up with the title. I don't know. The song's about death. It's hard to tell if it's about like a personal death in someone in the band or if it's about death in general.
Yeah.
Some lines lead me to believe that it's about somebody's son who died, but other lines make me think, no, it's about someone else or death in general. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Either way, it's interesting. Let's move on to the last song, shall we?
Derek.
Yes.
Oh,
Track number 9
Derek?
is called Derek.
Derek,
And it's
yeah.
also kind of about death.
Yeah.
It's about his dog named Derek.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a dog, I can't remember what it was. I was going to say
A
Shetland.
Shetland pony.
But that's, yeah. It was something with an S. If you look up the lyrics, it's the very first line. He says what kind of dog it was. The dog was named Derek. So he took care of Derek, but he wishes that he'd been nicer or paid more attention to him. So he's like, I didn't care for him the most, but you lived okay. Like something like that was one of the lines. He then compares raising the dog to how he's going to raise his child. Like comparing the two, and how I think he's going to say that he's going to do a better job with his family.
With this kid.
I think that's what he's going for. This song has a very different feel than a lot of the other songs on the album too. It's a little softer, and for the most part less abrasive until the end when he says "You can count on me." There's like a lot more rhythm things that come in, and it gets louder at the end.
Yeah, it definitely is softer.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't this isn't like this piano heavy in the beginning?
I think so.
Or
It's
like
got
some sort
weird,
of key instrument.
some weird thing going on there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Interesting end to the album.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it was a good one to end on. In summation of Strawberry Jam, this was without a doubt the hardest album for me to listen to out of all the Brews and Tunes things.
Wow.
I can honestly say that I hated this album at first. Like the first 2 or 3 times I listened to it, I was like, why? I was like, Lord, take me now so I don't have to listen to this again. So I forced myself. I really forced myself. But I also am a firm believer that you can like any music to a degree if you listen to it over and over again. You can find something that you like.
Yeah.
And that holds to be true. I listened to this a ton, and I found things that I no longer hated, and there was even some songs I liked.
Yeah.
So in the end, a rewarding listen. I respect what they did. A lot of bands cited this as an influence. Obviously, it shaped some of what has become the mainstream. Opened the doors for some people, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a gateway into experimental. I don't know. But I really don't have a desire to return to this album too terribly much or to explore any more Animal Collective. Who knows? I'm proud of myself that I listened to this album. I deserve
much as you did.
I deserve an award for that.
Yeah, I'll give you a beer or something.
Okay, and just a quick side note: when I was like looking stuff up online, I found that people abbreviate Animal Collective as ANCO.
Really?
Capital A N capital CO, all one word.
Anco.
ANCO. And every time I saw, it, I was like, "What is ANCO?" It's not that long of a name. Animal Collective.
Anco. Animal Collective. I guess it is quite a few syllables less, but
Is it that many?
4.
The only time it's acceptable. Well, you do what you want. I'm just being picky because I'm salty.
It is really weird though. That doesn't really make any sense. I always just say Animal
ANCO.
Collective.
It sounds like an anvil company. Like
Anco, yeah.
Like, hey boys, let's go down to ANCO and pick up some more anvils.
you know what this blacksmith parlor would really need is another anvil. Let's go down to Anco.
Did you ever see The Music Man?
The Music Man.
Where he goes to town to sell all those instruments and then he plans on leaving town before teaching them.
Is that
It's like a scam.
Is that the movie where there's that weird child kidnapper evil guy?
I don't think
Or is
so.
that
sounds like Chitty Chitty Bang
That's
Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah,
Yeah.
never mind. Yeah, Music Man. I haven't seen that in a long time.
So
but
he sells instruments. He goes town to town, sells instruments, and promises that he's going to teach the kids the instruments, and he
And then
always
he
skips town
leaves.
before that. But there's a anvil salesman who's trying to follow him and put a stop to it.
yeah.
Because everyone always says, "What do you do?" He says, "I sell anvils," and then he drops his briefcase and he goes, "Dunk." But maybe that's the guy who works for Anco.
Yeah.
What a great movie,
Oh,
musical,
man.
whatever you want to call it.
What a
76 trombones in the big
Oh
parade.
yeah, that's where that song is from.
And 100 and some cornets
That's
right,
right
behind.
behind.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of the Candyman.
The Candyman
The
can.
Candyman can.
Because he mixes it.
I was thinking
makes
I was
the world
thinking
taste
the Music Man can.
good. That's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Willy
Factory.
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
The book's called Charlie. Whatever, who cares?
Right.
What do you think about this beer as it warms up?
It still tastes really good.
Solid the whole way through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Fat Heads is great. Any announcements before we finish this up?
I believe we have some one-offs coming up.
Well, we also have next week where you're reviewing Bayside's Killing Time.
Yes.
So that'll
Yes,
happen
yeah.
there.
Look forward to that next week. Let us know if you like the episodes being split up this way.
Yeah.
We just figured it's easier to digest a half an hour episode instead of an hour long episode.
Yeah, and you can pick and choose which reviews you'll want to listen to or whatever.
Yeah. So that way, if you like Steve don't want to listen to an episode about Animal Collective, then you don't have to.
Exactly.
You can skip over it. Yeah. We hope you listen to it though.
Yeah, we hope so. But yeah, we'll have some. That's next week, and then coming after that, it'll be a one-off. I know there's a new posthumous Mac Miller album coming out that we're definitely going to do one-off on.
Yes, for sure.
I don't know how soon, but we'll see.
We still have to review Kid A as well.
We have to do Kid A. Maybe that'll be the next one-off.
Maybe.
Yeah. But either way, let's say we finish these brews.
Let's do it.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes.
Shibbity-beep-doo!
Down the fat head hatch. Ooh, delicious. Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da.